pick up some more pallet wood, but it wouldn't fit. This the back here, you know, I got it all down because I was trying to pick up some more pallet wood, but I couldn't get it to fit. And you know, it's like a Tetris style. Rotate it to the left, rotate it to the right. It still wouldn't fit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my saw. I'm going to bring my portable circular saw, and I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it to size to get it to fit. That's what I'm going to have to do. Hopefully the garbage man doesn't come and haul off all those pallets. There's some really nice wood and really nice pallets. I can make some really nice shelving from them. But they were just like 2 or 3 inches too big and wouldn't fit in the car. So sadly, I had to leave them in there in good condition. I might even come back tonight. I might just go home and grab it and come back, hopefully before the garbage man shows up and hauls them all off, because there were at least 3 or 4 good pallets. With that, I could make all the shelves I need to finish straightening things out around the house, because I need shelving, I need storage. Anyhow, I got an interesting mail on or an interesting letter in the mail the other day from the city, the water utilities people. It said, hey, we noticed your bill. You've had like 0 water consumption since December of 2021. So when this happens, usually it's because either no one is living there, or the place is barely being used but it's vacant, or the water meter is broken and needs to be looked at. You guys remember my goal to cut down on my my water usage? I think I did such a good job. The meter's showing 0. Now I don't know if the meter's actually broken, but I don't think it is. I think they have a threshold. Like, I think the way they do it, I think they look at the number and they do it when it goes over 1,000, you know, for each month. I think you get like 1,000 gallons or something. And then after 1,000, they charge you additional. I think that's how they do it. But I conserve my water. You know, I don't go crazy on the water. You guys have me. I lived in a van, so it's like I don't exactly go through water in a van. And even though I'm in a house right now, I still conserve. You know, I don't use a lot of electricity. I don't use a lot of water, just because I'm used to not using it. I don't have an electric dishwasher. I don't have I don't shower every single day. I only shower like probably about 2 or 3 times a week when I need it. Like, I'll probably shower today because I'm a little bit sweaty. But you know, being in the van, I normally don't shower unless I have work, you know, that day. But anyhow, they wanted me to fill out a letter, but it was like one of those pre-printed forms, and the options were either the house was vacant, or a snowbird only using it on certain, you know, certain months of the year, or the meter was broken and needed to be looked at. So I was like, well, there's no option on there to tell them I'm conserving water. So, you know, because prior to that, remember my bills, they were, I think, between $80 and $60 a month, which I thought was really high for water, you know, especially since I wasn't using it a lot. But we know that we had a leak. We had a leak in the toilet. Remember, the water was just running a little bit, but that was enough to add $20-$30 to the bill. And then I fixed that leak, and it dropped like $20. And then I've been conserving more, and I haven't even gotten to fully conserving, where I'm using rainwater. I haven't even started catching and using rainwater yet. You know, so we'll see what happens. I filled out their form online, and then I sent them an email. I may follow up with a phone call and say, did you get my message? You know, you guys are thinking the meter's broken. I'm thinking it's just because I conserved the water. Because you know, the first 3 months I was here, you guys were billing me, and then I decided to conserve. And when I conserved, the bill dropped down to the minimum. You know, they charge you about $20 a month whether or not you use any water to keep the water on, you know. So if I can keep the bill, you know, if they decide that, well, the meter's not broken and they're not going to try to screw me over somehow and just let me keep paying my $20, then I've hit my goal. That's as low as you can go. It's $20 on the water usage. You know, that's as low as you can go. They'll charge you the minimum. What they were saying is, if the meter's broken, they're going to come over and then average out, you know, for each month and bill me that, even though they don't have a reading. But I'm like, that's kind of bullshit, because you're going to bill me. I haven't talked to them about it, but they're going to bill me on when the water was leaking from the toilet, and you know, I wasn't really using all that water. Even that, I mean, it's like $60-80 per month, but I'm like, I don't want to pay that. I didn't use that, especially since I know for sure I've been conserving. I've been like, when I wash dishes, I only use a little bit of water. I'm actually a lot more wasteful now than I was when I was living in the van. You know, when I was in a van, I had to wash dishes. If I didn't have access to a water source like a park or something, I had a little squirt bottle. You know, I would just spray it down, rinse it off. You know, wipe it down and rinse it off. Now it's like I wet the plates. You know, like when I eat, I only use 1 or 2 plates. I wet it down a little bit, turn the water off. I put soap on it, then I scrub it, then I rinse it off. Probably use less than 2 or 3 cups of water to do dishes, you know. And then the only big water usage would be taking a shower. Every once in a while, you know, when I'm in the shower, I like to take a nice long hot shower, maybe 10-15 minutes. But I don't do it every day. I do it like 2 or 3 times a week. And then what else? The toilet, you know, but that only gets flushed like maybe once a day or less. You know, so I don't know, because I use the bathroom at work. I use the water at work. I'm not sitting around the house all day using the water. And you know, my wife and I stopped watering the garden using the hose. We now catch rainwater or just fill up a bucket with a little bit of water and go out there and water it. So it'd be interesting to see what happens if the city sends somebody out to look at it and they say there's nothing wrong with the meter. See if they try to pass some kind of special thing to charge me, even though I'm using less water than everybody else, which would be bogus. But if they leave it as is, then that means I got my water bill pretty much down to $20 a month, which is the minimum. You know, that's just to keep, you have to pay that. You don't have a choice as long as you're connected to the city water. But then it means that I don't really need to do any more rain catchment, because if I have to do rain catchment and stuff, there's no point. I'm not paying for the water. I mean, I'm paying the $20. I might as well just use my $20 with the water. It's pre-filtered by the city. It's you know, got chemicals in there to kill bacteria and stuff for the most part. You know, I do filter it for consumption at the house. So I don't really want to do additional work than I have to. Now, the electrical bill, you know, we had gotten it down to, last time it was like $60 for the whole month. This month, I think it may go up a little bit, because I've been running the air conditioner, you know, the next bill. I've been running the air conditioning because it's getting hot. And also the washing machine and the dryer. I think they use a lot of power. And I've been cooking a lot using the toaster oven. So I'm trying to figure out how to keep the electrical bill to under $100 a month, preferably under $50 a month. If I can do that, then, you know, I could get my utility bills under $70 a month for water and electric. That would be awesome. But the way I think I'm going to do the electric is I have to start using the sun to cook my food on the toaster oven. So that means I need to wire, you know, run a line to the solar power system, so that when I get home and it's still hot, it's not hot but sunny, the sun's still out, that's when I cook my rice and my whatever I bake, you know, because I bake a lot of meats and stuff like that in the toaster oven, which uses a lot of power. But my battery bank and my inverter, I have to plug in the 2,000 or 3,000 watt inverter. I think I have a 2,000, 2,500 watt, 2,000 watt inverter. I have to use that one. run the toaster oven. But I can try to do that and start cooking using the sun, which would save even more money on electric. You know, the other thing is air conditioning, which I actually enjoy the air conditioning when it's hot in Florida. So I might be willing to bite the bullet on that. But one thing that I did that made a noticeable difference was unplugging the extra refrigerators and freezers. You know, I had an RV fridge and freezer that works off 110 when you're docked. Okay, it works off 110, and it runs off propane, I think, when you're traveling. You know, but you can switch it. But I had it on electrical 110 or 120, and I also had a small dorm fridge in my bedroom. Well, when I got the full-size fridge, I unplugged the other two, disconnected them, and that saved me about $30 to $40 a month. Just unplugging the refrigerator saved me about $30, I think, maybe 40. So refrigerators use a lot of power, especially if you run them all day, all night. I guess you could try to get a more energy efficient refrigerator, or do like the van people do. They get basically a freezer, and you know they freeze. They don't really freeze stuff. They run it so it's like frozen, and then they unplug it or turn the power off. You know, or have it on a timer so it starts to cool back down, so it's not on constantly. The other thing you can do is run it off solar potentially. During the daytime, have it on full blast, you know, running it off batteries, battery bank and an inverter, and solar panels, and have it freezing during the morning, you know, during the daytime when the sun's out, and then at night, you know, it shuts down, and it just starts to warm up, but you know, it's still cold because it's frozen in the daytime, and at night it thaws out or whatever. But I don't know. But I don't know if I'm gonna go to that extreme. I might, just as a game, just to see how low I can go. But it'll be interesting if I start getting a letter from the electric company thinking that my meter's broken. Yeah, Timothy was on here when we were chatting about it, and he was saying that they paid them to install the solar panels, where they have that government program or whatever, where they say that, I think you were talking about that, right? Where you had them come install those expensive solar panels to your house and hook it to the grid. And when you generate electricity during the daytime, they buy it from you at a discount rate. But then when you use it at night, or when you need to use it, they charge you an expensive retail rate, which I think is BS, man. They buy it from you for pennies, and then they sell it to you for nickels, you know, or whatever. So I think it's cheaper to just get your own solar panels. And I use used ones, you know, I get used ones that I think they come from like either people, you know, big installations that they disassemble. And so far they've worked fine. So you get those used ones for cheaper. And even for wiring, I just used 10 gauge wiring from Home Depot. You know, I didn't get the special solar. I don't buy any special stuff. Wire's wire, as long as it's, I guess, rated for the voltages and the amperage and stuff that goes through it. I think it'll be fine. But, you know, so far, it's been about 3 years, 2-3 years. We haven't had any issues with them. And battery-wise, you know, I'm using the cheap lead acid battery, the RV, you know, marine batteries. But if you didn't have that, you could use car batteries, you know, automotive. It's not the best, but in a pinch, especially if you had access to free ones that people were getting rid of. What I'm going to probably eventually do is upgrade my my solar system here with more batteries and maybe a couple more panels, and set up different systems to run different things instead of making one huge system, making a whole bunch of little ones. Although having one big one, you know, has its benefits, but it also has its drawbacks. I think maybe having multiple systems, like one system to control lights, another one for controlling cooking potentially, you know. Unless somehow I manage to get them all into one big bank, I don't know. It might be easier to make it one big bank. Have like maybe upgrade another 400 to 600 watts of solar panels, and then my biggest thing is battery bank. If I can get more batteries, then I think I can have enough to actually run air conditioning off solar, which would be like, for if you're in Florida, if you're in Florida, that's like big. That's very big. I figure if you ran a small AC window AC unit, you could probably run it off easily run it off a 2,000 watt system. I think right now I have about 1,000 watts. If I upgrade it to 1,600 to 2,000, that might be enough to run the solar panels almost directly off the the air conditioning right off the solar. And so I don't know. But anyhow, just thought you guys would find it funny that the city, thinks that my meter's broken. And maybe it is broken, but I don't think it's broken. I know for a fact I've been cutting on my water purposely. So I just hope they don't give me a hard time because, I'm in the city. I'm living off grid in the city. So you got to pay for city services. And if they say, well, you're not paying anything, they get kind of mad. But we'll see what happens. I did contact the city about a homestead exemption. And they say that, I could file for homestead exemption even though I'm in a mobile home because it's stationary and it's not going anywhere. It's pretty much staying in the same spot. Nobody moves their houses here. It's like permanent. So I'm going to see what happens when I file homestead. And if it works the way I think it does, I could end up paying zero taxes, which would be crazy. I don't know. I know that Florida offers a discount for disabled vets. She was telling me that I could get like $5,000 credit reduced from the taxable amount for homes, for home. So I could get $5,000 knocked off the price, but I don't know if it's the price of what they assess, which would lower probably by $100 to $200 the taxes on the house. But if I'm able to get homestead exemption, because my house falls under the threshold of the exemption, then I think it might not be taxable. If that happens, then I don't have to worry about them coming to take my house. That's how I got this house, was because somebody died or something and stopped paying taxes on it. So look into that. If you're in a house, wherever you are and you own it, contact your property appraiser's office and see, if you don't have a homestead exemption already, see if you can get a homestead exemption on it. And if you're a veteran with the disability rating, whether it's 10% on up, contact them and see if they offer any discounts for disabled veterans. You might be able to save some money that way. So, my goal is to basically try to live as low cost as possible and still maintain being in a city without the city saying, hey, I think the big mistake some people make when they try to live off grid while on grid is they turn off the electrical power and they cut off the water completely. And when you do that and you're still living in that house, the city officials, they freak out, the inspectors and stuff, they all freak out because they're like, hey, they're living there, but the city ordinance says you can't live in a house without electricity and you can't live in a house without water. So basically, if you leave it plugged in, but you only use a little bit of it or not any of it, then water, I think the minimum is like about $20. So you probably have to pay at least $40, $50 a month, which sucks. But you'd still have access to some of it. For me, it's worth having the city gridded power to run air conditioning and to keep the refrigerator cold. Those are the big things. I know somebody here, Elaine, I think, was saying TVs use a lot of power when left plugged in. I think the older TVs did. The new TVs are a bit more efficient, but also my TV, the big one, right now I have it on gridded power, but usually during the day I keep it on solar. So I can run the TV as much as I want, during the daytime off solar, and the ceiling fan that circulates, air in the house, it runs off solar. So as I upgrade my solar system, I'm going to upgrade the devices that are using the solar power. And if I have enough battery bank, enough power in my battery bank, which I will upgrade eventually, then I can run stuff all night. That means I can keep it on solar completely. Then the only gridded power I need electricity for would be the refrigerators and the washer and dryer. You know, I mean, conceivably, if I really wanted to, I could put those on solar. But then you're looking at expensive solar power system. You know, my whole system, I want to keep it like the cost right now has been like about $1,000 or so, maybe less than 2,000 for my solar power system. I figure if I can, you know, I don't want to spend more than another $1,000 for battery bank and more solar panels. So for a $3,000 power system to be able to run most of the appliances in your house and keep your power bill to like $40 or $50 a month or less, I can live with that, you know. And the other good thing about it is, you know, when Florida, which is a hurricane zone, power always goes off around here. I still have lights and stuff. And if I needed to, I could run the refrigerator on it. Really, if I needed to, I could run the air conditioner on it. You know, the solar system I have right now will run the air conditioning, but it doesn't run it nonstop. It'll run it for about 2 or 3 hours, 2 hours maybe, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then the batteries need to be recharged. You know, so basically, I'd have to upgrade quite a bit. Which I don't think it's worth it to run air conditioning. You know, I think it's worth it to keep the lights on at night. I think it's worth it to watch TV and run the fan, and it's worth it to cook food. But it's not really worth it to run air conditioning because that's such a high usage device. And it may be worth it to get the refrigeration system on it. You know, because that's something that uses a lot of power, but I don't want to buy an expensive refrigerator, you know, like they're way more expensive if they're rated for like solar, you know, to be as efficient as possible. I guess somebody with more money would do that, but for me, I'm like, well, I don't mind paying it. And the other reason for not minding paying it is you don't want the city to get mad at you. They make revenue, they make money off the fees, you know, the water and the electric and all that. And if you're living there, you want to contribute to that. You just want to contribute as minimum as possible. So if they don't get mad at me just paying them $20 a month for water, and they don't get mad at me paying them $50 or less for electric, I'm fine with that. You know, I don't mind paying it. If I keep my bills under $100, that's like $100 to live other than food, you know, and gas and phone bill, which I'm thinking of potentially cutting my phone, you know, my phone bill, because right now I pay $60 a month for unlimited data and internet and whatever on my phone. But that was because I was in the van, you know, and that was my internet connection. Now I'm in the house and I have internet. I might cut the phone to one of those like $15 to $25 a month plans to save some more money. Then it may have limited, you know, internet capabilities on the phone, unless I'm at the house going through Wi-Fi, you know. But because I don't really need the internet 24/7 on my phone because I have access to the house, I could get away with it potentially and save myself $20 to $30 a month off the telephone bill. I know these things don't seem like a lot, but they all add up. Like for TV, I don't pay for Netflix or anything like that. I just get regular TV through the internet, through the Tubi TV, Pluto TV. There's all these free services, Peacock, and you get to see all these movies and stuff for free, you know. YouTube has free movies on it. And even in the news, you're like, well, I watch CNN, I watch ABC, NBC. They're all on the internet now for free, either on their own website or on YouTube. So it's not like I don't have access to stuff, you know. I don't ever pay for those online movie rentals and stuff because it adds up, you know. I just watch stuff for free. I don't mind the ads. You know, ads give me a chance to go to the bathroom or something. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but let me read your comments here. Now, Elaine does say if you use TVs, use a lot of power. Any electronic devices, modern ones, if they're the type of stuff where you hold the button in to shut it off or whatever, they're on even when you shut them off. So if you really want to save power, what you should do is disconnect them, you know, and you can do that by pulling the plug from the wall, which I don't recommend. I recommend getting like a multi-plug outlet with a flip switch that you can turn on and off, like I do for my microwave or my toaster oven and stuff. So that way you can just hit a button, a switch, flip it on, flip it off. So it connects or disconnects all those electronic devices. Microwaves, radio, stereo sets, TVs, computers, any of these electronic devices, they don't shut off unless you totally disconnect the power. So even though you have it turned off, they're still on. They're still on. They're just on like a sleep mode, but they're still on. But if you totally unplug them from the walls, they're off. And that means they don't have what's called phantom draw. That's where they pull electricity. Now, my computer's in my bedroom/office. They're still on, so they pull power. So I could save maybe a little bit of money by unplugging those things. And I might look into it. I'm trying to see how efficient I can become without buying the expensive power saving systems that they sell. They always market like you got to have high-end devices. They'll sell a refrigerator for like $2,000, $5,000 because it's solar. I'm like, that's a little high. I would rather invest that in like maybe a larger solar panel system and battery bank, which is more useful than just a refrigerator, that uses less power. So my refrigerator may use more power, but I have a larger solar power system, which is more versatile. So things that I can save money on, like trying to build storage shelves and stuff out of pallet wood. It's all free. It's stuff people are throwing away. So doing all that, it's not because I can't afford to pay for these things. It's because I don't want to pay for these things. I'm used to living free almost, in my van. And then the other issue is by not being forced to have to pay all this stuff, you have money that you can use for other things that you want to do, like travel or whatever, give away or whatever you want to do with your money. I think like a lot of people, when I see like in America, like on YouTube or social media and stuff, they think that you should strive to earn more money. They always promote trying to get a better job or hustling to get more money, but they don't seem to promote not wasting money, not getting stuff you don't need. Like people keep buying things they don't need. They buy the most expensive gadgets that they don't need. And, they pay, like for example, a house, you could get a really nice house and, it's worth a lot of money. But the problem is it's worth a lot to the county and the cities and stuff because of the taxes they make on it. You have to pay the property taxes and stuff, And if you earn enough and you don't mind doing that, it's not a big deal. But if your whole life is spent working your butt off so you can pay for a house to live in while you go to work that job, you don't really get to enjoy your house as much. You're having to work so much because you have to pay for all the taxes and everything else that it entails owning an expensive property. Your life is spent working. And, I would rather live in a house that's cheaper, not like trash or anything, but cheaper that I can afford easily. And then, I don't have to bust my butt at work. I can work as much as I want or as little as I want. And the jobs that I do, I can pick kind of what I want to do. I pick the job that I enjoy doing, not one that I have to do. And, I work when I want to pretty much. I don't have to go into work all the time unless, it's not a necessity. I don't mind working. I just don't want to work to live to work. For me, work supports my life, my lifestyle, not the other way around. Let's scroll through here. The simplest refrigerator is cheap and lasts way longer than the fancy and expensive ones. Another thing I'm going to be looking into, Timothy, is what do they call those refrigerators that run off water? It's the evaporative refrigerators like the Egyptians use. Basically, and this is something that will work on cars or vans and stuff. We know that if you wet something down, when it evaporates, it cools it down. So I was trying to figure out ways to do that to a house. We know we can do it, for those of you who are in a car right now struggling, if you're living in a van or whatever and you have access to water, this is what I recommend. Get a bunch of cheap rags or whatever, soak them in water, toss them all over your car or your van or whatever, and let it sit there. It'll cool it down by about 20 degrees or more, 20, 25 degrees within a few minutes. Because what happens is when the water evaporates, it pulls the heat off. And if you do your car like that, which I might do another episode on staying cool, in the heat in a van. But it's common sense, like park under a shade if you can, instead of sitting out in the sun, then it's acting like absorbing all that heat. If you park in the shade, if you park it near water where the breeze is blowing, and not only that, with water there, the water absorbs that heat. Okay, so it'll blow cooler air. Air that is dry is really usually hot. So people say, well, what about, they hear about humidity and stuff. Yeah, humidity makes it feel hotter, but even in Florida, people say the swamp coolers won't work. They work. Believe me, I lived here and I used it and they work. Okay, even though people say, well, the moisture in the air, yeah, but it's still hot enough that it's pulling the moisture from, I don't know if you guys saw that episode where I showed it live, where I took bottled water and I sprayed it in the van while I was sitting in it because my van broke down and I was stuck in the Walmart parking lot. And I sprayed the water in the van and it cooled the temperature within a few minutes by 15, 20 degrees. You can do that. Just get a misting water spray bottle from Dollar Tree, from Walmart, whatever, and just spray water all over. You don't have to wet things down, but spray it in the air. And you will notice that, the sun, or not the sun, but the heat will evaporate it. And as it does so, the temperature cools down. That's the same effect. But I'm thinking of a way of trying to do it around the house without, running, obviously, the city water. So maybe using rainwater to do it. Or, strategically planting trees or plants to shade the house will help. But the big thing I'm trying to do is figure out how to do it so I can save food, like refrigerate things using the power of the sun without using electricity. So that's another way of doing it, and to do it, basically, if you can just look up on YouTube, you want to learn how to do it, but it's like, you can look up electricityless or refrigeration without electricity, stuff like that. And they will show you, but they use like clay pots and stuff like that. I think I might try to make one, but try to figure out how I can do it in such a way that it continually runs instead of having to have a person constantly adding water. Doing it so that it continually runs and continually cools down. I want to do an experiment and see if it's cool enough to actually store food. But I do enjoy the electric one because it has a freezer, and you'll never get those electricless ones to freeze. And the reason I like the freezer is I like ice cream. Let me scroll through here. Rooster says, get a pay-as-you-go phone, like a track phone. Yeah, I can do that. But those pay-as-you-go phones I found were more expensive. I was going through, they were like $10, $15, but I was going through like $50 or $70 a month pay-as-you-go. But that was when I was living full-time in the van. I think living at the house, I can probably get by with the monthly plan, maybe a $10 a month or $15 a month plan. Because internet-wise, I don't need it as much, except for these live broadcasts. Like right now, I'm broadcasting off the phone. I'll probably have to cut out on my live broadcast when I'm not at the house. Because at the house, I have Wi-Fi, I can broadcast. Eek wants to know, what are the squatter laws in Florida? Basically, I think if you squat somewhere for, I think about 5 years or 7 years, but you got to do it openly. If they don't kick you out or whatever, you can claim it. You can try to claim it, you file to claim it and go through that process. Now, they are cracking down because what happened was a lot of people, with the housing situation going up so high, people had to move out and whatnot, but they let the places sit vacant, and people were moving in, especially like in South Florida. So they started passing city laws and stuff, but I don't know, people had to test it in court to try to keep those people out, But I think you can squat almost anywhere. And the reason those laws exist is so that you don't have property and stuff that could be used just sitting there rotting, which you see a lot. But honestly, if you wanted a cheap house, Florida's kind of a little bit hard, but there are parts of Florida that are still pretty cheap, but they tend to be in like really bad neighborhoods. But in most of the United States, like out in the desert areas, and even like I saw the TV show the other day in South Carolina, You could buy a whole house with its lone lot for like $10,000. I don't know if I think that's the retail price because nobody wants to move to that town, that city. It's like nothing there, no jobs. So if you're on disability or have income from the internet or whatever, you could get a house with land somewhere in a city. You know, it's not gonna be a big city. It's gonna be a little tiny rinky-dink town, but you could buy a house outright. But I'm willing to bet that if you shop around those areas or even bigger cities, you could get some houses for as low as $2,000 with the land if you buy, foreclosed or tax deed homes. I think tax deed homes are better because foreclosed, they're still in good shape. The people got forced out. Tax deed, the people couldn't afford to pay taxes and probably most likely it's dead, the owner. So nobody's paid for it, but it sat there for like 5 years or so, 5 to 6 years, and then the city says they want their money. So they foreclose on the house. I mean, they don't foreclose it, they do a tax deed sale. And then supposedly the city and all the people who have a lien on that house will take their money. And then what's left over goes to the family or the estate of the people who had the house. And then if it doesn't, the city, or not the city, the county, the state takes it, which is bullshit, but that's what they do. Like this house, I'm pretty sure the people were dead. You know, the real owners, not the people who rented it and trashed it. I'm pretty sure the owners are dead and there is no estate. And that the state of Florida took all the excess money. So I overpaid for it in that sense because they drove the price up. I don't know if it's other people wanting the house or investors trying to beat me. But I ended up paying pretty high for the house, but much lower than retail. But it was still high, especially considering the condition that it was in. But now that I've got it fixed up and stuff, it's gone up in value, you know. But I wouldn't want to sell it because whatever I sell it for, I couldn't buy another house like it. The pricing is too high for me to get into another house. I couldn't buy this house at retail. I couldn't afford it. Hi, Hope. Good to see you on here. Yeah, CDC says, CDC Vintage and Mechanical says I can get a Google account and get free phone and text through your email. The problem with the Google account, it only works when you have Wi-Fi. You know, you can't, I used to have like Google, I had like Google phones and stuff, and I gave up those numbers and stuff, but I used to have them when it first came out. But now I'm just trying to keep things simple. And the other thing about it is this, I could keep my phone and just not worry about it because it's a business expense. You know, I use it for YouTube, obviously. If anybody tries to audit me on it, say, look, watch all these videos. They're uploaded from the phone. And that's why, you know, I write it off as a taxable tax write-off. Is because it's a business expense. I use it for my business. All my uploads go through the phone pretty much. And even my editing and stuff. So the good thing about having a YouTube channel that's monetized and, you know, been reported as an income source is that I can write off taxes. Like I might upgrade my computer, I might upgrade and get a drone and some other fancier equipment as I try to upgrade the content, the quality of the content on this channel. And all that will be, I can claim it as a tax write-off, you know, so I may do that. It just depends on, you know, right now I'm trying to figure out what my priorities are, but one of them is to make more money, you know, not because I need more money, but because I'm trying to plan for retiring very soon with money this time, instead of just retiring and just trying to make it, you know. I want to retire and have money enough that I can travel the world and not be a rich person, but always have enough money that travel isn't an issue, you know, that paying for things when I'm traveling isn't an issue. You know, I don't want to travel and be poor. Not that I want to travel and be rich, but I want to travel and be able to afford to do fun stuff when you're visiting another country or something, or traveling across the United States, you know, to be able to experience some of the finer things in life. Hello, Janet. Good to see you on here. Yeah, just reading here. Just scrolling through your readings. Eric says he's disabled with limited income and living in Orlando, staying with family. You know, they have. I checked with I don't know how it is with your county and stuff. But if you don't own the house, you won't be able to claim anyways. But if you are disabled and you own a house, the county, depending on which counties and stuff, they allow some credits and stuff for reducing your property taxes. Some of them may. I know when I contacted them today, they said if you're disabled, they didn't care if you were a veteran or not. Just said if you're a disabled individual and you can prove that you're disabled, you know, with the letter or whatever from the VA or from the Social Security Administration or whatever, whoever sends you a letter stating that you're disabled, they give you a discount, you know, so that you don't have to pay full on the taxes, and that might be of help. The fact that you're disabled, you probably already know, but if you don't, look up into the disability laws and breaks that they give you in your area, because a lot of times they offer that, you know. If not you personally, then your family may be able to claim some of it. If you're living with them and you know, acting as a dependent, they might be able to claim you as a disabled dependent, and that may help with taxes, including with the IRS and other stuff. These are all legal stuff, by the way. Just look it up. You know, disability benefits, what services are available for disabled people. And if you're not sure, I'm sure there's agencies, not government, but civil agencies in different towns and cities and stuff that can help you find what your rights are and what benefits you have access to. Hey, Kira, good to see you on here. Thanks for coming by and hitting that like button. Anyhow, I'm going to sign off because it is hot. I'm going to go in and sit in my air conditioning. And then I might end up going ahead to go out and get those pallets, because I'm afraid of the trash truck picking them up. With my luck, they'll be gone by tomorrow. So I think I'm going to do that today will be my big plan. I'm going to go in, cool down a little bit, grab my rechargeable saw, circular saw, and take it over there and cut that pallet wood to fit my car and bring it back so I can work on those projects. So if that happens, I'll be sure to film it for you guys. Until next time, everyone, take care. God bless you all. Stay safe. Just a reminder, was it something Love Bear or something that won the second light strip? If you're watching this, you need to send me your name and email, your name and mailing address so I can send you the light strip. I got to contact Vaunt and let them know that you won. Don't just apply or don't just enter the contest and then never come back. Because you won. We need to give away that light. If he doesn't claim it, I think it's Love Bear or something. I forget what the name was. Some kind of weird, funky bear name, I think. But if you don't claim it by Friday, I'm going to be doing a live drawing on Friday, and I will give it away to one of the live viewers, because that way it can be done and I can close it out, because I know I don't like having it hanging over my head, and I'm sure Vaunt, you know, they want to close it out too. So if you are the winner, congratulations. Make sure you contact me, denoy.deboer@gmail.com, with your mailing address, and I will send that to you right away. I won't send it, but I'll have Vaunt do it. Until next time, everyone, take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye now.